Welcome. Today we're going to discuss the mitzvah of Yeshivat Sukkah, living or dwelling in the Sukkah. The Torah teaches us in Parshat Emor, basukah teshevu shivat yamim. In Sukkot you shall dwell for 7 days. From here we learn in the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan, Kol shivat hayamim, Adam oses sukkato keva uveito arai. Our rabbis taught in a bracha, all 7 days a person makes his sukkah his residence and his home his temporary dwelling. How are we supposed to do this? Well, if he has nice utensils or couches, he should bring them into the sukkah. He should eat and drink and relax in the sukkah. And then the Gemara asks, Mina hani mili, from where do we know this? The Tanu Rabbanan, Teshvu ke'ein teduru. It says in the pasuk we learned before, Teshvu, you shall dwell, and this means in the manner in which you ordinarily live. From here the Shulchan Aruch teaches us, Ochlim v'shotim v'yeshenim basukah, kol shiva, bein b'yom, bein b'layla. We are to eat, drink, and sleep in the sukkah day and night. Ve'ein yishanim chutz l'sukkah, afilu shinat arai. We cannot even take a nap outside the sukkah. Aval mutar le'echol achilat arai chutz l'sukkah. But we're allowed to have a snack outside the sukkah. The first question we need to ask is, if we are not even allowed to take a nap outside the sukkah, why is it that so many people who are careful about observing mitzvot don't sleep in the sukkah? To answer this question, we need to learn a very important exception to our obligation to live in the sukkah. The Shulchan Aruch teaches us, mitztaer patur min ha-sukkah. We are supposed to dwell in the sukkah in a normal and pleasant manner. But if there's something about the sukkah that makes it uncomfortable to live there, you can leave the sukkah just as you would do if there were a room in your house in which you were uncomfortable. For example, if there's bad weather or a lot of bugs or a bad smell, one is allowed to leave the sukkah. Based on this principle of mitztaer patur min ha-sukkah, the Ramah, Rabbi Moshe Isserles, suggests that the reason many of us do not sleep in the sukkah is that we live in areas where the weather makes it very unpleasant to sleep in the sukkah. So we are patur, exempt from sleeping in the sukkah. One can certainly also suggest that many of us live in areas where sleeping outside at night might be unsafe, and therefore such people would be patur as well. Okay, now let's discuss eating in the sukkah. We need to look at it from two angles. First, which foods we have to eat in the sukkah. Second, when do we make the bracha of leishev basukah? Both of these issues will be affected by what we eat and how much we intend to eat. Now, there are 4 types of foods for the purposes of sukkah. First is bread. Very simple. It's made of at least one of the 5 grains, wheat, barley, rye, spelt, or oats, and is baked in an oven. Second is what we call pat haba'a b'kisnin. It's like bread in that it comes from the 5 grains and is baked. The difference is that it's made to be a snack food. The third category is also made of the 5 grains, but it is not baked. It is a tafshil, meaning a food that is cooked or fried. Pasta is a classic example of this food type. The final category includes all other kinds of drink and foods, such as fruits and vegetables. Now the halacha concerning how much of which foods must be eaten in the sukkah, and when we say a leishev basukah, are set forth in the Shulchan Aruch in Siman Taf Reish Lamed Tet Sif Bet. To make it a little easier, we will use this chart. So the rules are as follows. When it comes to pat, bread, if you are eating more than the volume of an egg, you must eat in the sukkah and make the bracha of leishev basukah. If you are eating less than that, you don't need to eat it in a sukkah, And even if you do, you may not say the bracha. The same exact rules apply to pad haba bekisnin, baked snack foods. If you're eating more than the volume of an egg, you must do so in the sukkah and make a bracha. Now, when it comes to tavshil, the rules change a bit. Like pad haba bekisnin, you must eat a tavshil in the sukkah if you are having more than a kibetza. However, when it comes to a tavshil, eating more than a kibetza is not enough to require a bracha. You only make a bracha if you are being kovea seuda. You establish that you are eating a meal. So what does kovea seuda mean? Well, the Mishnah Brura gives two possibilities when it comes to sukkah. The first is the classic definition, when you eat what a person normally eats for a meal. This is about 3 to 4 beitzim. The second possibility is to have more than a kibetza, but doing so in the gathering of family or friends. So to review the halachot concerning a tavshil made of grain, if you are eating more than a kibetza of such a tavshil, you must do so in a sukkah. However, in order to be required to say a bracha, you have to also be kovea suda, which means either 1, eating a meal's worth of food, or 2, eating more than a kibetza in the gathering of others. Finally, when it comes to all other foods or drinks, they do not require that they be eaten in the sukkah, though it is nice to do so. And one may not say a bracha of leishev basukah when eating just these foods. Okay, so what happens if I'm eating in the sukkah and it starts raining? The general rule is, if precipitation is threatening your food, you can go inside. We also learned before, mitztaer parter min sukkah. So if you're uncomfortable, you are also exempt. But what happens if it stops raining? Well, once you've moved inside, you can complete your meal there. There is one exception. On the first night of the Chag, one has to at least make kiddush and have a kezayit of bread in the sukkah. So let's review. We learned from basukot teshavu that we have to live in the sukkah by at least eating and sleeping there. The exception is, if there's something that makes us uncomfortable, we can leave the sukkah. Therefore, some of us don't sleep in the sukkah because it's cold or unsafe. We eat all foods made of grain in the sukkah if we are eating more than a kibetza, the volume of an egg. Baked bread and snack foods made of grain get a bracha of leishev basukah if we are eating more than a kibetza. A tavshil of grain that is cooked or fried only gets a leishev basukah if either we are eating enough for a meal or we ate more than a kibetza in a small gathering. You can leave the sukkah if the rain is ruining your food. But on the first night, we all have to make kiddush and eat at least a kezayit, the volume of an olive of bread. By the way, can I fulfill the mitzvah in one of these? The Mishnah teaches us, Ha'oseh sukkato b'rosh agala b'rosh hasvina kshera. If one makes a sukkah on a wagon or boat, it is kosher.